Hello, welcome in. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully, you guys are having a good day. Hopefully, you had a good week 1 NFL Sunday. It was pretty good for me. So, we can kind of talk through things. We're going to recap all of week 1, the games, talk through kind of my takeaways on stuff that stuck out to me. Quick recap, and then we will, we'll talk more tomorrow in terms of, usage stuff that stuck out to me. Obviously, we have the first look NFL DFS video dropping tomorrow. So there'll be lots of content coming tomorrow. My game preview for tonight's Monday Night Football game is up at rollinginsights.com. So go to rollinginsights.com right here, click the blog button, and you can find it right here. Full breakdown of the game tonight. I also will have a blog coming out after stream that goes over, my biggest few takeaways from the week, which, we're going to talk about stuff now. I'll rehash stuff in that blog, and then we'll talk more tomorrow. Plus, we have the DFS video coming out tomorrow, as well as the waiver wire article. So if you guys play season long, I'll give out my waiver wire targets tomorrow. Mitchell, what's up? You said, shout out to D-Hop. Yes, good day for the touchdown picks yesterday for me. Had D-Hop and in primetime, and I had Debo, which we talked about on the stream with Matt yesterday. Both of those hit. Also had Packers money line play of the day. It was a 2-unit play for me, and that one as well. That was like free. I should have bet more on that. Felt really, really good about that spot. So I probably should have bet even more than 2 units on that. That should have been a pretty big play. Nathan, what's up? You said Ravens. Yeah, what was up? That was a crazy game last night. Gonna be tough to knock that off for game of the year, I think. I know it's only week 1, but it's gonna be tough to top that for game of the year. Had just a electric game. That was awesome. But yeah, if you had Ravens money line, I feel for you. That was that should have been a win. All right, let's go through the games. If you guys have questions on anything, go ahead and ask. So just file in those questions now. Let's go through the games, and then we will get into the Monday Night Football for tonight. So starting off, first game yesterday, Dolphins-Colts. Look, this kind of systemic risk that the Dolphins are just completely dysfunctional and not good was certainly there throughout the offseason. I was pretty steadfast, didn't want to take Tyreek in any season long. You guys know I love Devin Achane. I moved him down a little bit. I had him at the bottom of kind of the running back tier in the first 2 rounds, which is not common for me. So, that risk was certainly there, and it was on full display yesterday. They went into Indy and just got completely steamrolled. I think they didn't even run like any plays in the first half. They were just punting left and right. I have no idea what their game plan was or what they were trying to accomplish on offense. The offensive line looked bad. Tyreek Hill already looked disengaged. Tua probably played definitely his worst game since he was a rookie yesterday. Was not a good performance from him. The defensive line looked bad. Like, that's the strength of their defense, but the pass rush was non-existent. They have a legitimately solid front 7, which we talked about yesterday, Matt and I. No pass rush to speak of. Offense was bad. Defense was worse. I expect the offense to get somewhat better. The defense, I don't think, is getting any better, though. It's one of the worst secondaries in the league. That's just a fact. Mike McDaniel, Guru, to your point, yeah, Mike McDaniel is what we call a dead man walking. He will be fired. He will not be coaching the Dolphins next year. I can just say that confidently. On the Colts side of things, I thought they played good, but it's hard to parse out how much of that was them playing good versus the Dolphins playing bad. Hard to kind of draw anything from that. I thought Daniel Jones played fine. Him and Shane Steichen systemically and schematically, I think, are a good match. But again, he played basically the softest matchup that you could possibly have in week one. So we'll see kind of what continues there. Jonathan Taylor had good usage, but, got vultured by Daniel Jones twice on the goal line. That's going to happen. As far as the receivers go, Pittman played well. I thought the role for Tyler Warren was very encouraging early on. Week one, already having just that established role. They drew up several plays for him, good target share. So definitely bullish on Warren. I'm bullish on Pittman as long as Daniel Jones is starting. Daniel Jones, I thought, played well, but again, need to see it again, I guess, not against the worst potential defense in the league. Dewan, what's up? Mitchell, you said, I know we will get there, but Kenny Walker's in trouble. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that game. Feel for Giant fans. Yeah, Russell Wilson. We'll let's do that game next. So we'll do Giants Commanders. Commanders win 21-6. Giants. I don't know. I saw they confirmed Russell Wilson would start again next week. He was just really bad. No way around it. Terrible. Didn't play good. Don't know what they were trying to really do on offense. He led the team in rushing, which I thought was interesting. But overall, Tyrone Tracy, the role for him was very much there. Scatterbo didn't look great, although it was his first NFL game. He had 2 carries for -3 yards, but the role was very clear. It's Tyrone Tracy's backfield right now. Malik Neighbors did what he does, but only 5 for 71. Had a lot of targets that didn't end up working out. I saw Neighbors and Daboll get into it. They ended up shaking hands after, but all around, Giants looked not good. On the Commanders side, they did their part. Jane Daniels did what he does. The game was really never in question for the Commanders. I thought there was some meat on the bone for them there, but overall, first game of the year, thought they played fine. Thought the defense looked good as well. Nathan, I agree with that. Pass rush for the Giants looked fine. No issues with the pass rush for the Giants. Everything else was terrible. Shout out to Debo though for cashing the touchdown bet. Predictably, which is what I told you guys, I thought Debo was going to lead the team in receiving early on in the season while Terry McLaurin gets back rolling. That happened yesterday. Debo 7 for 77, also had the rushing touchdown. And I thought it was interesting that he scored on a carry, which is, again, something I highlighted, that maybe the kind of uncertainty with the backfield, maybe Debo mixes in there. It was his only carry of the game, but it was a designed, play for him, and he scored on it. Biggest takeaway from the Commanders is Bill Krosky-Merritt, 10 for 82 and a touchdown on the ground. We talked about it on stream yesterday morning. He iced Chris Rodriguez, was not even active for the game. Jerry McNichols is a special teamer mostly, so it's basically Eckler, Bill Krosky-Merritt, Jaden Daniels, Debo. Those are the guys that we are going to project a lot of carries for this team. But I thought, there's an opportunity for Krosky-Merritt to take over the base and early down work, and I thought he did well with his opportunity. He averaged 8 yards per carry, scored a touchdown, like I said. I thought it was a good game for the rookie, and I'm pretty bullish on his role moving forward. Daniels did just miss Terry McLaurin on that. Could have been a much bigger game for both of them. But overall, thought the Commanders did what they do. They're one of the better teams in the NFC. You would expect them to win that one, and they did. Next, we have Steelers-Jets was like the lowest. Okay, so yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw the stat. The unders went 11-1 in the early window yesterday of the Sunday day slate. Unders went 11-1. The one that went over was the lowest total, that being Steelers-Jets, and it went completely nuclear. 34-32 final score. Jets Steelers stole a win in New York from the Jets there. Aaron Rodgers turned back the clock with 4 touchdown passes in a revenge game there. On the opposite side, Justin Fields looked great. That was the first time, if we go back through his time with the Steelers and his time with the Bears, I think that was the first time that Justin Fields looked like Ohio State Justin Fields, in my opinion. 2 rushing touchdowns, efficient throwing the ball, honestly, 16 of 22, 218 and a touchdown. I thought he looked good. So I don't know like what we can expect from the Jets because I don't think they're going to be very good defensively. And we'll kind of see what happens there. But for Justin Fields to have that game against the Steelers defense, that was encouraging. Garrett Wilson had a great game. They continued, they said they wanted to have a run-first approach. They did that. Breece Hall got 19 carries. Justin Fields got 12. Then you had like Braylon Allen mixed in with 6. He scored a touchdown as well. Breece Hall had a good role for fantasy, 19 of 107. Again, tough matchup against Pittsburgh too. He mixed in 2 catches for 38 yards as well. This was a super fun game, which is crazy. Can't believe it. I don't know what to really take from it. We'll kind of see. But yeah, I definitely didn't expect that to be the highest scoring game on the slate, but it was. Fun game to watch. Like what I saw from Fields. And we'll see, kind of what carries into this week from that. Panthers Jags. This one was disappointing. Thought we would get a potentially bigger game from Trevor Lawrence. You guys know Trevor Lawrence was very high owned in daily fantasy. Ultimately did not play him in cash games. Oh, yeah, to mention, easily won cash games on DraftKings, easily won cash games on FanDuel. So it was a good DFS week for me. I did not play the Trevor Lawrence chalk on DraftKings, so I ended up playing Jaden Daniels, getting up to Jaden Daniels. I thought Trevor Lawrence would have a bigger game. Honestly, it was kind of a weird game with the weather delay. It was kind of like slow. There was a lot of long drives going on. But Trevor Lawrence had a lot of time to throw and just missed some of his guys at times, like missed Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas 1 for 11 on a ton of targets. Travis Hunter, he missed on 1 as well. So overall, thought we would have got a bigger game from him, but I don't want to overreact to one game. They got another really good matchup this week against Cincinnati's defense. We'll kind of see what happens there. Travis Etienne clearly led this backfield. Even if you take out the 170-yard run or whatever he had 16 carries, Tank Bigsby 5, Trevor Lawrence 4, Tootin mixed in for 3. And then Brian Thomas Jr. got 1. He scored on his 1 carry. But yeah, looks like Panthers defense, they had a historically bad run defense last year. Looks like it's going to be pretty bad again based off that 1 game sample size. Jaguars had no issues really running the ball on them. Bryce Young struggled. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Got to be better. Got to be better from Bryce Young. Had high expectations for him coming into the season. He did not pass the test in week 1, so we'll kind of see where things go from there. McMillan led the team in receiving predictably with 5 for 68. I think that's going to continue, especially while Coker is out. Chuba Hubbard clearly led the backfield. Really nothing shocking to me on the Panthers side of the ball, other than their run defense looked bad again. And then the Jags, I don't want to overreact to 1 game. It's still a new offense for Trevor Lawrence, but not good enough, in my opinion, from him. Want to see a bigger game from him against Cincy this week, and that's the high total on the board this week. So there's going to be a lot of attention on him again in DFS, and we'll kind of see. He's really never had like big DFS games that I can remember. It's very few and far between, so we'll kind of see if that changes this week because he's going to be high owned once again. I liked the role for Travis Hunter in his first NFL game. Big role in the slot. That's where he can win, get the ball in his hands, let him rack up some yards after the catch. So I was excited about that, but I would be looking for a BTJ bounce back against Cincy, and I like the spot for Travis Hunter this weekend as well. That game pissed me off. Yeah, it was disappointing for sure. It's disappointing. Let's see. Did this. Cardinals Saints. Cardinals snuck out a win in New Orleans. Kyler Murray played pretty good, honestly. Kyler Murray was the highlight for me from the Arizona Cardinals. I don't really think their defense played particularly well. They didn't look like that great of a team, but again, that's a tough spot. Road game week 1 p.m. early start cross-country flight. But Kyler Murray played well, 21 of 29, 163, 2 touchdowns. He ran the ball 7 times too. Marvin Harrison Jr. with a touchdown. Trey McBride did what he did, but did not score once again, kind of similar to what he's been doing for his entire career there. On the Saints side of things, Kamara was not as involved as I anticipated. He did score the touchdown, but I mean, they mixed in Kendre Miller quite a bit. They had some design runs for Rattler too, so not as big of a role for Kamara as I thought. Juwan Johnson led the team in receiving, but he had 8 for 76. Chris Olave was right there, 7 for 54 as well. We cashed a nice ladder, which I tweeted out over the weekend. Chris Olave reception ladder. Had him over 4.5 and then laddered him up to 9. He finished with 7. Should have had 8. He caught a ball in the last drive and they overturned it. It looked like a catch to me, but I wasn't watching super close, so I don't know if that was a raw deal that we got there. But overall, hit pretty nice on that ladder. Cardinals, that stuck out to me too. James Conner was not the bell cow that I think most anticipated. He had 12 carries for 39 yards. Did catch a touchdown in the red zone, but Trey Benson was involved in the red zone too, inside the 10. And it was a pretty even split between him and James Conner. So that was something to watch out for just moving forward. Thought James Conner would be more involved, and he was not. But he did get there with a touchdown. Ladders have been nice. Any tonight? They have been nice. I don't know if there's a ladder I like tonight, but there's a lot. There's 4 touchdown scorers I like tonight. And we're going to talk about that when we get to that game. 4 touchdown scores tonight that I think are good. And they're all high odds too, which is interesting. Continuing on, Browns-Bengals. Once again, the Cleveland Browns own Joe Burrow. Jim Schwartz just completely owns Joe Burrow, although I shouldn't really say Jim Schwartz. It's more of a Myles Garrett issue. Myles Garrett just completely takes over against the Bengals and disrupts the game unlike anything you will see. If you guys, are romantic about football like that, go back and watch the last quarter and a half of the Bengals-Browns game. Myles Garrett completely just wreaked havoc on the Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals won a game yesterday in which they accumulated just 7 total yards of offense in the second half. Let that sink in. They moved the ball. They advanced the ball 7 yards in the entire second half of the game and managed to win because the Browns had untimely turnovers. They missed an extra point and a 36-yarder that would have given them the win. And then Joe Flacco got a raw deal. Had a lot of Joe Flacco in DFS yesterday. He had 290 yards, and then he had 2 picks that bounced off of Browns players' hands. So he got really robbed. He could have had a much bigger game and got the bonus on DraftKings. But overall, I feel pretty good kind of about, him as a play. Felt good playing him. Browns continue to lose games just in ways that are unthinkable. One thing that I got right, though, if you watched the stream yesterday morning, I was very, very adamant that having talked to my boy from The Athletic, again, shout out Zach Jackson, having talked to him, I thought that Harold Fannin was going to play a very, very big role for this offense. I thought it anyways. I asked him. He confirmed my prior thoughts there, and he was extremely involved in the offense. I mean, way more involved than David Njoku. They were scheming up plays for him. They were giving him carries, direct snap, putting him in the Wildcat, direct snap to him. He got a other carry as well. So very, very excited about Harold Fannin this year. I felt good about getting ahead on that. I think he's going to have a really big season. Dylan Sampson looked great in the passing game. That's another guy I was pretty high on coming out of Tennessee. He had 8 catches for 64 yards yesterday. He's going to take a step back in the rushing room because I think they're going to get Quinshon Judkins back this week, and he's going to be able to play. But I think the receiving role, especially while Flacco is in, can maintain for Dylan Sampson because Flacco is very willing to check down and throw to his running backs. So I think the receiving role for Dylan Sampson still is going to be there. Don't know about the rushing situation with Judkins potentially coming back. On the Bengals side, hard to take anything away. Like I said, they accumulated 7 yards of offense in the second half. They have struggled against the Browns for years. They've struggled against Jim Schwartz since he came to Cleveland. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing to take away really here. Chase Brown had an elite role. He's the only running back on the Bengals that registered a carry yesterday. So you guys know I was very, very high on him from a season-long perspective. I feel good about that. I don't really have any takeaways from this team other than they can't play against the Browns defense, and their offensive line is still terrible. Kyle, you said you double-stacked Allen with Shakir and Coleman. Now you're up 15, and I have the Bears defense, and my opponent has Jefferson. Do you think I win? So basically, you're spotting him 25 to start the game. So you're going to get 10 from the Bears defense. I think you have a pretty good chance of winning, honestly. Because Jefferson still, like, we talked about it, right? These guys that miss all of camp start slow. It's just a fact. And he missed all of camp. He got hurt on, like, the second day of camp, Justin Jefferson. So... And it's a new quarterback. Even though he's familiar with J.J. McCarthy from last year, it's still a new quarterback. And I feel like missing out on camp was missing out on valuable, reps they could have had together. So I think you have a pretty good chance of winning that. Gannon, you said I have a weak quarterback room in fantasy. Would it be good to trade away Drake May and Bucky Irving for Mayfield, Hunter, and Pollard? I can start Gibbs and Henderson as my running backs. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't think there's a large gap between Drake May and Baker Mayfield right now. I know, like, after one game, I don't think Drake May, I haven't got to that game yet. I don't think he looked up to his standards yesterday. But overall, I still think there's room for him to have a good fantasy season. And he plays the Miami Dolphins this week. So I think you should give it another week, see what Drake May does. I was very encouraged by Bucky Irving's role yesterday. Now, it would be nice to get Hunter and Pollard, but Pollard is going to, at some point, Tyjae Spears is going to come back, and it's an unknown. Maybe Pollard will keep up his big role. Maybe he won't. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel pretty confident in the role we saw from Bucky Irving yesterday. I might give it another week and then kind of see where things go. Yeah, and you said you have McCarthy too. I would just give it a week or two and kind of see how things play out. Wow, Kyle, you said you were down to 1% chance to win, and then Josh Allen. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. All right, next game. Let me see. We got to do Bucks Falcons. So this was an ugly game. Should have went to overtime. Younghoe Koo missed. He doinked a kick in, and then he missed a pretty makeable kick to send it to overtime. Penix up and down, 298 yards and a touchdown. I thought he played good enough to win the game, but still think there's meat on the bone for him there. Buccaneers, Matt and I talked about how we thought Atlanta would struggle to run the ball on stream yesterday, just with the zone blocking scheme stuff and how Tampa was going to defend them. That held true. Bijan Robinson, just 12 carries for 24 yards. Now, he mixed in a ton in the receiving game, 6 for 100 and a touchdown through the air, but he did get bottled up in the run game as well as Tyler Algier. Drake London's game log does not tell the story. 8 for 55. He completely dominated the target share. He had a touchdown that was like reviewed and overturned, ruled incomplete. He did get banged up at the end of the game, but sounds like he should be good. So if you're a Drake London owner, I would feel very encouraged as long as he's healthy. Elite role with Michael Penix at the helm once again. On the Bucs side, like I said, Bucky Irving, game log 14 for 37, doesn't look great, but he played a fantastic role, dominated the snaps and the opportunity share. So feel pretty good about where Bucky Irving is in the receiving game. Been talking about Emeka Ibuka since the draft. Comes out in his first NFL game, catches 2 touchdowns. What can we say? I mean, just an absolute baller. If you got in on him at a very cheap price in early season-long drafts, you're probably feeling pretty good right now because he looked like the real deal. We'll see whenever Chris Godwin can come back, but I don't see his role really going away. One of my buddies stole a game by 1 point with Lamar. Wow. Yeah, that should have gone to overtime for sure. That was unlucky. Younghoe Koo needs to get it together. He's been very inconsistent. He used to be one of the top kickers in the league. He was very inconsistent last year, and he wasn't good yesterday. All right, last game in the 1 p.m. hour is Patriots Raiders, which we talked about. Raiders, obviously big win on the road for them. Patriots were favored in this game. Geno, I thought, played very well. 362, a touchdown and a pick. Just missed on a couple other deep balls too. So I thought Geno played pretty well. I'm pretty bullish, honestly, on this offense for fantasy purposes this season. So it was nice to see that in game 1. Ashton Genty did score, but the Patriots, I think, made a real point to just limit the run game. First of all, the Raiders' offensive line did not look great, but they really, really bottled up the run game. I thought they sold out and made a point to do that. Brock Bowers did Brock Bowers things when he was in the game, 5 for 103. He got hurt at the end of the game, but claims he wanted to come back in and they wouldn't let him. So, we can monitor that. Jacoby Myers, elite role once again, 8 for 97 there, receiving. It's going to be a lot of Myers, a lot of Bowers in that passing game with Genty in the backfield. On the Patriots side, like I said, Drake May just didn't really play good enough. He didn't have a bad game, but definitely room for him to improve there. And he gets a very, very soft matchup this weekend against Miami. So excited to see what he does this weekend. Trevion Henderson led the team in rushing, but they mixed in. It was a pretty even split. If you look at him, Stevenson, Drake May got 4 carries as well. What I was encouraged was Trevion Henderson's involvement in the passing game. 6 receptions there, not a lot of yards, but I think that receiving usage for Henderson is going to be sticky. Stephon Diggs didn't look great to me. I think Trevion Henderson might just be the best weapon that they have on offense. So I would expect that receiving usage to hold firm, and then maybe his rushing role can grow as we move throughout the season. So if you drafted Trevion Henderson high, I wouldn't hit the panic button yet. I wouldn't worry yet, but I think the receiving usage is going to be good. As far as the Patriots receiving game, like I said, I don't think Stephon Diggs looked very good. He had 6 for 57, but I'll have to go look at the metrics, his separation stuff and all that. But just watching the game, he didn't look very good to me. Kayshon Boutte, 6 for 103, led this team in receiving. If you guys remember, we were betting Kayshon Boutte props. We were playing him in DFS late last season. He actually led the Patriots in air yards while Drake May was the starter last year. And he looked good to begin the season. People will forget that he was very, very involved at LSU back when they had Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. He was there along with them. He has pedigree, got hurt and had off the field stuff going on, or probably would have got drafted a good bit higher than, the Patriots were able to get him basically for free, just taking a flyer on him. But I thought, we were betting him a good bit last year. He looked good in week 1. And I wouldn't be shocked to see that role continue, especially his role deep down the field. Our guy Pop Douglas didn't do much, but did score a touchdown. So we'll kind of see and monitor that throughout the next few weeks. You got Trevion late 4th. Yeah, I wouldn't worry. I mean, that's fine. Like, I was pretty comfortable clicking him in that range. If you missed out, if you didn't go running back, I was pretty fine with clicking him in that range. So I wouldn't worry yet. We'll see what happens. We'll go quick on the afternoon games here, and then we'll get into Monday Night Football. Broncos Titans. I don't know what Sean Payton was doing yesterday. Like, truly, just like I don't understand. Multiple head scratching decisions from Sean Payton. Bo Nix played terrible, in my opinion. He had 2 picks. When they went for it late in the 4th on their own side of the field, he just launched the ball down the field when he had a crosser. I don't remember who was crossing. He had a crosser wide open to just basically end the game, and he just launched the ball down the field for just no apparent reason. I thought Bo Nix played a terrible football game yesterday. So I don't really know what was going on there. Harvey looked much better than Dobbins, but Dobbins still got the volume. Again, expect Harvey's role to grow as the season goes on. Dobbins had 16 carries to Harvey's 6, but Harvey looked much better to me. Dobbins did end up finding the end zone. Cortland Sutton found the end zone. No shocker there. When we look at the receiving room for the Denver Broncos, like, outside of Cortland Sutton, honestly, like, was not encouraged by what I saw from Marvin Mims. Troy Franklin ran more routes than him, and it was kind of like after Sutton, it was a pretty even mix. You had Franklin, Mims, and Sherfield. Those guys were all mixing in, but yeah, I don't know. Troy Franklin seemed like the number 2 guy to me, so I don't really know what to do with that information. It may change game to game. I don't know. I don't want to overreact too much to week 1, but Troy Franklin was second on the team in routes run. Evan Ingram also got banged up in that game as well, so we'll monitor that. On the Titans side of things, they need another playmaker. They need someone to step up outside of Calvin Ridley. He was dealing with Pat Surtain yesterday. He also dropped like a big gainer, so there's meat on the bone for this Titans offense. Overall, I thought Cam Ward played a great game. For it being his first NFL start on the road in Mile High against one of the best defenses in the NFL, it's a nightmare spot to make your first NFL start. I thought he played great, had his team in the game, made some great throws, took some sacks that he shouldn't have, but also did pretty good avoiding some pressure in spots, keeping his eyes downfield. I thought he played a great game for it being his first NFL game. So excited from what I saw from Cam Ward, excited to see him progress over the rest of the season. But the Titans need somebody to step up other than Calvin Ridley. That's all I'll say. Also, I'm pretty sure Io Manor caught a long ball and they ruled him out, and the Titans should have challenged, and they did not challenge also. So just keep that in mind. Do you think Mahomes is good for fantasy? Coming into the season, I would have said yes, but I mean, now we're dealing with no Rice, no Xavier Worthy potentially. I don't know. I mean, that's concerning. He needs to get Rice back for sure. That best ball team. Do you guys remember I did the Expert League, FSGA Expert League best ball draft almost like a month and a half ago. It was a long time ago. 17 teams, I believe it was. I did that draft. I have Mahomes on that draft, but actually ended up with Marquise Brown too. So we're running a little hot there. We had Mahomes, Marquise Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs is on that team. Romeo Dobbs is on that team. George Kittle's on that team. Unfortunately, he got hurt, which I'm going to get to. Jalen Waddle didn't do anything yesterday, but we have Rice on that team too, so we need to get him back. 17 teams is so hard, though. Anyways, other afternoon games, 49ers, Seahawks. Like I said, George Kittle got hurt on the 49ers side, which is just terrible. He had his street clothes on, so I think you can pencil him in for a game or two at least missed here. So Jake Tonges, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Backup tight end, caught a red zone touchdown towards the end of the game. He's going to be like a DF. He's going to be the DFS play this week if they're on the main slate. Let me double check if they are. I mean, I guarantee he's like free. They are. They play at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Yeah, so just pencil him in for your cash game roster there. With no George Kittle, Pearsall looked great. Like what I saw from him. Yeah, he was cooking. The Seahawks have a very good secondary, and he beat them a couple times deep. So I thought he looked good. Christian McCaffrey, I don't know if it was gamesmanship from Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey or what, but I don't think he was banged up at all in that game. If he was actually hurt at all, then I don't think you see this many touches from him. 22 carries, 9 receptions. He had a boatload of targets, and he is just going to continue to smash while these pass catchers are banged up. So we've got no Ayuk for a while. Now we've got no Kittle. Juwan Jennings got banged up in this game too. I mean, it's going to be Pearsall and McCaffrey for the next few weeks for the Niners, and they're just going to eat everything. On the Seattle side of things, I'm concerned. Kenneth Walker did not have a bell cow role, so if you drafted him high, I would be concerned about him. Zach Charbonnet, first drive of the game, got in on the goal line and scored a touchdown. And then Kenneth Walker, I mean, he just didn't look good to me anyways. So I definitely would be concerned about that. Jackson Smith and the Jigba is a clear alpha in this offense. Sam Darnold was laser locked on him. 9 for 124, double-digit targets. I don't think this offense is going to be very good. So Jackson Smith and the Jigba, as long as he's healthy, is going to just eat on volume alone. Seahawks defense looked very good. Offense looked very mid outside of JSN. Packers-Lions. Lions predictably struggled early on replacing those coordinators, and offensive line looked bad. Packers looked great. Packers looked like one of the best teams in the NFC, one of the best teams in the league, in my opinion. Jordan Love, the game log will not tell you the full story. 16 of 22 for 188 and 2. Jordan Love absolutely surgical when he was throwing the ball yesterday. He was cooking. Josh Jacobs, bell cow roll once again, 19 carries. Mixed bag for the Packers receivers. They like to rotate these guys. I think that's going to maintain. So I don't know. I don't know if one guy's going to separate there. It's probably going to be a mixed bag every week. But overall, I thought Jordan Love looked really good. Thought the Packers looked really good. Saw that report today that Tesla is going to play more for the Lions. I don't know. St. Brown looked mid. Jahmyr Gibbs' passing usage is what stuck out to me. I think that's going to be sticky week to week, especially if they're not just steamrolling teams like they were last year. So that was encouraging if you're a Gibbs owner. J-Mo, I think, can play better than he did. Tesla, maybe he gets more involved moving forward as well. Tyler Warren, smash pick in that round for sure. He looked like just loved the role. He's going to be one of the best fantasy tight ends easily. And then last game here on the afternoon slate, Texans-Rams. Low-scoring game, 14-9. Texans' offensive line looked terrible once again. Nick Chubb, we got that report Sunday that Nick Chubb would operate as the bell cow. He did lead the team in carries with 13. Nobody else had more than 2 or 3. Nico Collins got really bottled up. I don't know what was going on with that. That was the most shocking thing to me yesterday was his lack of involvement. On the Rams side, they looked good defensively. On offense, I thought it was 50-50 who got the majority of the slot snaps for them with Cooper Kupp gone. I thought it was 50-50 because Devontae Adams operated a lot in the slot for the Jets when he played there last year. So I thought you could go either way. Like maybe they traded for him. They're going to put him in that role. And they're going to keep Puka in his role. But it was almost all Puka in the slot. He had the best fantasy game of any receiver yesterday, 10 for 130, crushed. If you took Puka in the first round or, when that stuff was going on with Stafford and he was slipping into like the second round, you have to feel pretty good. Like Puka, late round 2 is going to be one of the best overall picks, I think, as long as he stays healthy. He left the game, came back in, but yeah, he just looked like a smash. 51 yards for Adams. Yeah, he didn't play bad. But it's just particularly like Puka played majority of his snaps in the slot, and whoever's in the slot there is the most valuable role, in my opinion. So that's a good sign for Puka. But yeah, Adams 4 for 51. Not terrible. All right, let's get into tonight. If you guys have questions on tonight's game, like I said, my preview for this game is up here, which I have it brought up here. So line right now, Vikings -1.5, totals 43.5. Here's my thoughts on the game. Typically, I would say you have a pretty good system on divisional unders early in the season. That's going to be a pretty profitable system historically. We also yesterday saw a lot of bad football and a lot of games go under. Every game went under yesterday except for Jets Steelers and the night game Ravens and Bills. So I think there's two cases right there that you can make for the under. That being said, we have arguably the two best schemers in the NFC in this game, that being Ben Johnson and Kevin O'Connell from an offensive perspective. So while the trends and the historical stuff would all point to the under in this game, if you use your football brain a little bit, you could kind of see how this game could go over just because it's two actual good offensive schemes. Now, that being said, Ben Johnson, while is an elite schemer, he's not coaching the Lions anymore. He doesn't have a stud roster across the board. He's got Caleb Williams, who's looking to take a step forward. He's got good receivers, but there's still some unknowns there, especially when it comes to the offensive line and the running game, because Detroit was always a very run-heavy team under Ben Johnson, and I think they want to be a run-heavy team again this year. They brought in multiple offensive linemen this year in the offseason. They drafted a tight end in the first top 15 picks of the NFL draft, despite re-signing Cole Kmet. So I think all of their big key free agent and draft moves would tell you that this team wants to run the football, which is what he did in Detroit. So I don't know. I don't really have a lean on the total, and I don't really have a lean on a side of this game. I do, like I told you guys earlier, have some touchdown picks I like and some props I like. So we're going to dive into that. On the Vikings side of things, J.J. McCarthy, first start. I like J.J. McCarthy. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I think he's going to excel in the scheme. I think Kevin O'Connell handpicked him for a reason. And I think this is probably the first time in Kevin O'Connell's tenure at the Vikings that he has like his handpicked quarterback that he wants operating the offense. So I'm excited about the Vikings from a season-long perspective. I'm excited about J.J. McCarthy. That being said, Justin Jefferson missed all of camp. Got hurt on like the second day of practice. No Jordan Addison tonight. So quickly, that kind of raises some questions for tonight. We've got Justin Jefferson. Not that he can't have a good game. He certainly can. He's like the best receiver in the league. But still, wouldn't be shocked to see a slow start to begin the season. And then after that, you have Adam Thielen, who they just brought in. And they have like Jalen Naylor, and they have TJ Hawkinson. I am very interested in Adam Thielen tonight. Now, we got this report that he's going to play majority in the slot, which I like. We also got the report that he's like, quote unquote, not going to play full snaps. I don't really know like what that means, because I don't think the Vikings are in a spot where they can afford to not play him a lot of snaps tonight. So I'm interested in Adam Thielen touchdown props. He is very familiar with J.J. McCarthy. Him and J.J. McCarthy work out in the offseason all the time together, and they've done that for multiple years. So I think they already have a built-in rapport. Chicago has a good defense, so I'm, inclined to attack them from the slot anyways. Like, they have decent outside corners. So I like the spot for Adam Thielen. We saw Keenan Allen turn back the clock and have a big game on Thursday night. I bet on DeAndre Hopkins' touchdown last night, and he turned back the clock and scored a touchdown. Why don't we make it 3 for 3 with another old guy, and we take Adam Thielen, anytime touchdown, first-time touchdown. Adam Thielen, quote, he is not washed. He had elite metrics last year. Over 2 yards per route run that's one of the best marks in the entire NFL. Separation stuff was good for him last year. Not washed, Adam Thielen, but I think we go with another old guy anytime and first touchdown tonight, Adam Thielen on the Vikings side of things. I also will be watching to see what they do with the running back room because I think they brought in Jordan Mason to help out in the red zone. Aaron Jones was terrible in the red zone last year, not efficient whatsoever in the red zone. So I think they brought in Jordan Mason, but at the same time, Jordan Mason has never been that great in the red zone either. I think an underrated aspect here is JJ McCarthy's ability to run. There was multiple reports about them wanting to use JJ McCarthy's legs this offseason, especially in the red zone. So that's something I'll be looking out for. I think there's good value on JJ McCarthy to score a touchdown tonight as well. I think he could get mobile in the red zone. And that's not really something that O'Connell was able to call when he's got Nick Mullins, Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold at quarterback, but he can call that stuff with JJ McCarthy. So JJ McCarthy, anytime touchdown, I think has some value as well. On the Chicago Bears side of things, high expectations for this team. With Ben Johnson coming over, I kind of just went over how I think they want to be a run-heavy team, but, we'll see if that works out. We'll see if Caleb can operate this offense to Ben Johnson's liking. A lot of question marks there. No Roschon Johnson tonight, so it's going to be Monangai after Swift. We'll probably see a good amount of Swift tonight, if I had to assume. The spot that I think is interesting is the slot receiver role here for the Bears. You're going to have DJ Moore on the outside. You're probably going to have Rome Odunze on the opposite side of him. And I think that the Bears drafted Luther Burden to be their slot receiver, but I don't think he's going to take that role over right away. I think it's going to be slow as the season progresses. I think you're going to get Olamide Zaccheaus operating as the primary slot receiver tonight. He did that in the preseason. He operated as a starter in the preseason, while Luther Burden primarily played with the second-team offense. And Olamide Zaccheaus has pretty low props. He's around like 22, 23 yards on his prop tonight. You can definitely attack Minnesota. Brian Flores likes to blitz a lot. Very, very blitz heavy. He runs zone on the back end. So you can attack the middle of the field. If Caleb Williams gets under pressure, maybe he relies on that slot receiver role. So Olamide Zaccheaus, I think, is interesting from a DFS perspective, from a prop perspective. I think he has good odds for a touchdown as well. So, like I said, I like 4 touchdown scores tonight. 2 Vikings, 2 Bears. From the Bears starting off, Olamide Zaccheaus is interesting. And then similar to my thesis with JJ McCarthy here running the ball, Ben Johnson has never had a quarterback that he could run with either. Jared Goff is more of a statue, not going to run around. Caleb Williams ran around a ton in college. He's very mobile. He had a lot of rushing touchdowns in college. And I think that very similar to JJ McCarthy, you could see Caleb Williams schemed to run a little bit here from Ben Johnson, especially when they get down in the red zone. This is the type of thing that I could see happening tonight. Caleb Williams also has pretty good odds for anytime touchdown. It's over 4-1. So I like, weirdly enough, for the total being this low, 4 touchdown scores tonight. Both quarterbacks I could see with good odds. And then I like both slot receivers. I like both quarterbacks and both slot receivers tonight. Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy, and Olamide Zaccheaus, Adam Thielen. Those are my touchdown picks for tonight. I don't really ever do 4 touchdowns in one game. Anyone that's followed me knows I pretty much keep it to like 1 or 2 touchdown picks in a given game. But weirdly enough, just all these are high odds options and look good to me. So I think there's value on all those plays. So I'm going to be playing a lot of touchdowns tonight. Really at those odds, even though we're taking 4 of them, just need 1 of them to score and we would be fine even with taking 4 picks. That's the advantage of taking higher odds plays. I also like, I put this in on Bet365. I don't think you can do it on FanDuel. Let me check. Because FanDuel has 25 plus yards, but Bet365 has 20 plus. But I did Just the two receivers I just talked about, Thielen and Zacchaeus, both 20-plus receiving yards. It was plus 150 on Bet365, so I went ahead and put that in as well. Zacchaeus' line is low 20s, and Thielen's line's mid-20s. So right around kind of where they're projected. Thielen's line's 27.5, and Zacchaeus on FanDuel right now is 21.5. I like that 21.5 by itself, but I went ahead and did the parlay. Let's see. I want to see most receiving yards in the game if there's specials for that I can find somewhere. Here it is. So Justin Jefferson's the obvious big favorite at plus 115. Then you have DJ Moore at 3-1, Odunze 5-1, Hawk at 7-1, Thielen at 16-1. I probably wouldn't want to go Thielen in that market, but man, if Zacchaeus ripped off like a long one, 27-1 most receiving yards in the game isn't the worst play, but I probably won't take that. I took JJ plus Williams over 25 rushing. Don't hate that, Nathan. All right. Overall, hour-long stream today. Game breakdown is live on the website. Top takeaways from the weekend blog will be up on the website this evening as well. I'll tweet that out. Good luck tonight if you're betting. A lot of touchdowns. So hopefully we hit a touch. We just need to hit 4 high odds. We need to hit one of these touchdowns to feel pretty good. I like the receiving play I put in as well. Not really the typical style of stuff that I bet, but that's what looks good to me tonight. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's just a good game, and we hit one of these touchdown scores or more. Good luck tonight with your bets, DFS, all that stuff. I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m., same time, same place, and we will have the DFS Week 2 first look video out on the Rolling Insights YouTube as well. We got around 400 views on that last week. Let's see if we can get that up to 500 this week. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.